Hello everyone and good afternoon. You're now with me, Ruben Gomez, for the 5 p.m. news. Let's get going to the news. Lessen political tensions and instead focus on taking care of the people's welfare as well as recovering the country's economy. This was the decree issued by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah, specifically addressed to politicians in a time when the country is still facing the COVID-19 pandemic.
According to him, the well-being and prosperity of the people will be maintained if the nation's politics and governance are stable. To maintain that stability, politicians were advised to lessen political agendas and urged to work together for the welfare of the people as well as taking into account the nation's economic recovery. With regards to this, the people are also urged to take heart the lessons learned in 2020 to improve oneself, the community and the nation as a whole.
The COVID-19 pandemic has posed an enormous challenge for Sarawak. As long as the vaccine is not available, the public will have to be cooperative and comply with the health standard operating procedures. We must remain resilient and continue to make the new norm the norm.
The policy of full containment adopted by Sarawak Disaster Management Committee has been successful in flattening the COVID-19 curve in the state so far. The committee chairman, Dato' Amar Douglas Ugah Ambas, said the policy involves the implementation of trace, test, quarantine and isolate. Ugah expresses gratitude to the committee members and frontliners for being selfless in handling the pandemic. Also not to miss are the public for being cooperative and complying with the health standard operating procedures. He also urged everyone to remain vigilant, to stay healthy, stay safe and adhere to the SOPs.
The war against the COVID-19 pandemic is far from over. Yet, still the battles are only getting tougher as they require the integration of the people and the Health Ministry to fight the pandemic.
Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said the efforts of the Health Ministry in containing COVID-19 transmission would continue. Public health facilities have so far been able to take on the pandemic. Dr. Nur Hisham reminds the people to always comply with the standard operating procedures. Always maintain physical distancing, wear face masks, wash hands frequently and avoid crowded places while gathering with family to celebrate the New Year.
Welcome back. A special task force will be established to tackle issues of halal in the state. The matter was diverged by Assistant Minister in the Chief Minister's Department for Islamic Affairs and DBKU, Dato' Dr. Abdul Rahman Junaidi.
Kerajaan Sarawak juga menyambut baik hasrat pihak KPD and HEP untuk menubuhkan jawatankuasa perundungan dan penguatkuasaan halal bagi menyelaraskan tindakan dan isu berkaitan dengan halal dan yang akan turut dianggoti oleh JAKIM dan untuk kita di Sarawak melibatkan Majlis Islam Sarawak dan Jabatan Agama Islam Sarawak JAIS.
Abdul Rahman said this at a press conference after chairing a special meeting with Halal Enforcement Committee at Mashma Tuanku Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah building in Kuching. The state government also urged relevant agencies such as the Malaysian Royal Customs Department, Veterinary Service Department and the Ministry of Agriculture Modernisation, Native Land and Regional Development to tighten the entry of imported meats into Sarawak.
Jadi tiga jabatan utama ini bertanggungjawab untuk memastikan bahawa daging-daging import datang Sarawak ini dapat dilihat supaya mereka tidak berlaku penyeludupan daging seperti yang telah pun berlaku. Kita sarankan kepada masyarakat Islam terutama di negeri Sarawak dinasihatkan agar lebih peka dan bertanggungjawab dalam aspek pembelian dan penyediaan makanan yang berasaskan daging dan ayam. Pilihlah produk ataupun premis yang mempunyai pensijilan halal Malaysia dan diiktirafkan oleh Majlis Islam Sarawak dan JAKIM.
The Works Ministry through the Public Works Department has promised to address the potholes issues within 24 hours, conducted through the Aku Janji Zero Potholes campaign that was reintroduced last July.
The previous Aku Janji Zero pothole campaign carried out in 2016 till 2018 aimed to strengthen the ministry's commitment towards the maintenance of roads in the country. The statement classified pothole damage as holes with diameters of 200 to 1000 millimeters. The ministry allocated 1.09 million ringgit for federal road maintenance, which includes electricity, traffic lights, and street lamp bills for 2021. The ministry is also committed to ensure that every complaint and feedback taken seriously and will resolve it as soon as possible.
Now that 2020 is coming to its inevitable yet anticipated close, many are looking forward to a fresh start after a long and unexpectedly painful year. We should take a look back at the moments and experiences that made 2020, well, 2020, to move on from what feels like a roller coaster ride of horrors and heartbreaks. Here are some global and local incidents to put things into perspective.
The world seemed to have come to a complete standstill, shocked and awed at the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic. Lives were changed, the economy plummeted, and millions lost their jobs. The latest data shows that globally, 82 million people have been infected by the virus, with a total death toll nearing the grim milestone of 2 million. Even now, there is no sign that the pandemic is slowing down, even with the production of vaccines. The number of new infections around the world are still at a worrying rate. A massive explosion shattered Beirut on August 4, 2020, compounding the ongoing political and economic crisis that have crippled Lebanon throughout the past year. The blast emanated from the port of Beirut, where 2,750 tons of highly explosive ammonia nitrate was being stored. At least 157 people were killed, over 6,000 injured, and hundreds of thousands were displaced. Whole neighborhoods were shattered, with estimates of more than $5 billion worth of damage. President Donald Trump became a one-term president of the United States when he lost the 2020 election to former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden. Biden, the Democratic candidate, won a total of 284 electoral votes, while Trump only managed to get 214 electoral votes. Biden's theme for the presidential campaign, A Battle for the Soul of the Nation, was one of the main factors that won him the presidential election, putting to a stop to Trump's wish for a second term as president. November 2020, football icon and a legend Diego Maradona passed away at his hometown in Argentina. Recognized as one of the world's greatest strikers, Maradona died at the age of 60 due to a heart attack. Maradona was also famously known as the Hand of God after he used his hand to bring a 2-1 victory to his home country of Argentina against England in the second half of the 1986 World Cup. The political turmoil that engulfed the nation throughout 2020 saw the Pakatan Harapan government fall after holding the reins to the country for 22 months. The uncertainty began with the resignation of the former Prime Minister, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, on 29 February 2020. Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin was sworn in as the new Prime Minister on March 1st and hardly had time to form his cabinet before having declared a movement control order on the country. The conflict at the parliamentary level also affected the political climates in some states to the point of causing changes in leadership. The COVID-19 pandemic also tested Malaysia as a nation, but with the dedication and sacrifice of frontliners, the pandemic has been successfully prevented from spreading too quickly. The pandemic also forced the government to come up with various aids, such as the Prihatin National Assistance, Bantuan Khas Sarawak Kusayang, KWSPI Lestari, and moratoriums. All of these to ease the
Well, that wraps up the final 2020 final editions of the TVS News at 5. Tonight will be a bit special at 8:30 p.m. where we will be broadcast live a special Countdown 2021 event only on channel 122 Astro. Ruben Gomez, anytime, anywhere. Happy New Year.